She said something that confused you. Maybe she pulled back right when things felt close. Maybe she acted distant after a night that felt real. Maybe she gave you just enough warmth to keep you hoping, and just enough cold to keep you guessing. And now you are here, late at night, trying to figure out what she actually meant. Let me tell you something most men never hear clearly enough. What confused you was not a mistake. It was not random, and it was not meaningless. There is a language women speak when attraction is real but unspoken. It does not sound like what you expect. It does not look like the movies. And if you do not understand it, you will do what most men do. You will react. You will chase. You will lose her. Not because she did not want you, but because you answered the wrong message with the wrong energy. This is not about tricks. This is not about playing games back. This is about seeing clearly so you can stand still when everything inside you wants to move. And that stillness is what changes everything. Most men get this wrong for one reason. They measure a woman's interest by how obvious it is. If she texts first, she likes me. If she pulls away, she does not. If she is hot and cold, she is playing me. But attraction does not work in straight lines, especially not for women. A woman's emotional world is layered. What she shows on the surface is rarely what she feels underneath. Not because she is dishonest, but because she is testing something that matters more to her than your words ever will. She is testing your emotional stability. She needs to know that when she pulls back, you do not collapse. She needs to know that when tension rises, you do not crumble into reassurance seeking. She needs to know that you are not performing confidence, you are living it. And here is the part that will be hard to hear. Every time you over-explained yourself, every time you double-texted looking for clarity, every time you shifted your mood because she shifted hers, you were answering her test. And the answer told her something you did not mean to say. It told her that your sense of self depends on her response. That is not a flaw in you. That is a pattern. And patterns can be broken the moment you see them. So let us see them. The first mind game she plays when she is secretly attracted to you is the pullback after closeness. You had a great conversation, maybe even a perfect date. She laughed, she touched your arm, she looked at you in that way. And then the next day, silence. Or short replies. Or a shift in energy you cannot explain. Most men panic here. They assume they did something wrong. They start replaying the night, trying to find the mistake. They text her something safe, something light, something that really means, please tell me it was real. But here is what actually happened. She felt something, and it scared her. Not because of you, because closeness is vulnerability, and vulnerability without trust is terrifying. So she pulls back not to test your patience, but to test your foundation. She is watching, quietly, from a distance. She wants to see if you stay grounded. She wants to see if your energy shifts because hers did. She wants to know if you are the kind of man who can hold space without needing to fill it with words. This is not manipulation. This is protection. She is protecting herself from investing in a man who cannot hold his own weight emotionally. And the way you win this one is almost painfully simple. You do nothing. You let the silence sit. You go about your life. You do not punish her with coldness, and you do not chase her with warmth. You simply remain, steady, present in your own world, unmoved. Not because you do not care, but because your peace is not something anyone else controls. And when she sees that her silence did not rattle you, something shifts in her chest, a feeling she cannot quite name. But it pulls her back toward you with more certainty than any message ever could. That is the first game, and you just won it. Not by playing, but by being still. The second game she plays is one most men never even notice. She starts testing your reaction to other men. Maybe she mentions someone casually. Maybe she laughs a little too much at another guy's joke when you are around. Maybe she brings up an ex in a way that feels deliberate, but disguised as conversation. Your gut tightens. Something in your chest moves. And before you even realize it, your energy shifts. You get quieter. Or you overcompensate. You try harder to be funny. You become slightly possessive without saying a word. And she sees all of it. This is not cruelty. This is her asking you a question without ever opening her mouth. The question is simple. Do you trust yourself enough to not be threatened? A man who reacts to jealousy with insecurity tells her something she does not want to hear. It tells her that his confidence has conditions, that his calm is fragile, that he needs her validation to feel secure in who he is. But a man who hears another man's name and does not flinch, a man who smiles, stays relaxed, maybe even engages the topic without tension. That man just told her something powerful without saying a single word. He told her that he is not competing because he does not need to. And that energy is magnetic, not because it is arrogant, but because it is rare. Most men leak insecurity in these moments and do not even realize it. She does. She always does. The third game is one that looks like disinterest, but is actually deep interest disguised as distance. She starts acting like she does not care. She takes longer to reply. She seems less enthusiastic. She stops initiating. And from the outside, it looks like she has lost interest completely. But watch closer. She still responds. She still shows up. She has not disappeared. She has just lowered her visibility. And there is a reason for that. She is watching what you do when you are not being rewarded. She wants to see who you are when the attention fades, when the compliments dry up, when the energy is no longer easy and fun. Do you stay consistent? Do you remain the same man she was drawn to? Or do you start performing? Start overgiving? Start adjusting yourself to earn back what felt effortless before? This is where most men unravel, because they were never operating from a stable center to begin with. They were operating from her reflection. And the moment that reflection changed, they changed with it. The man who wins this does not chase the energy that left. He keeps building his own. He stays in his rhythm. He does not withdraw out of ego, and he does not pursue out of anxiety. He simply continues being who he was before she showed up. And that is the most attractive thing a man can do. Continue being himself when no one is clapping. The fourth game is the contradiction. She says one thing and does another. She tells you she is not looking for anything serious and then acts like she wants something deep. She says she is busy but makes time for you in small, quiet ways. She tells you not to wait for her, but keeps showing up just enough to keep the door open. This is not dishonesty. This is fear dressed up as words. Her actions are telling you the truth. her words are protecting her from the risk of that truth. Because if she says what she really feels and you do not hold it with care, she is exposed. And exposure without safety is something she has probably already learned to avoid. So she speaks in code. She communicates through what she does, not what she says. And the man who listens to her actions instead of reacting to her words is the man who earns her trust. You do not call out the contradiction. You do not demand clarity she is not ready to give. You simply watch. You observe. You let her show you what she means at her own pace. And you hold that space without needing to control it. That is emotional maturity. And it is the thing she has been looking for in every man she has ever met. Most of them could not give it to her. Not because they were bad men, but because no one ever taught them that listening is not the same as waiting for your turn to speak. Real listening is watching what someone does when they think you are not paying attention. And right now, she is watching you the same way. The fifth game is the most misunderstood of all. She creates space that feels like rejection, but is actually an invitation. She stops being available all the time. She makes plans without you. She seems content on her own. And something in you starts to feel like you are losing her. Like the window is closing. Like you need to act now or she will move on. But this is not her leaving. This is her finding herself so she can come to you whole. And it is also a mirror. She is showing you what emotional independence looks like. And she is quietly asking if you can match it. Most men cannot. Most men see a woman pulling into her own life and interpret it as disconnection. They respond with more effort, more presence, more attempts to close the gap she intentionally created. And in doing so, they collapse the very tension that was keeping attraction alive. Because attraction needs space. It needs room to breathe. It needs the unknown, the wonder, the quiet question of, what is he thinking? If you fill every gap with reassurance, you remove the mystery. And mystery is not manipulation. It is the natural rhythm of two people discovering each other without forcing the pace. The man who wins this game is the one who sees her independence and feels respect, not fear. The one who does not try to pull her closer when she steps into her own world. The one who mirrors her energy with his own fullness. Not emptiness pretending to be patience. Fullness. You have your own life, your own goals, your own rhythm. And when she sees that you do not pause your world every time she enters the room, something inside her relaxes. Because she is no longer carrying the weight of being your entire source of meaning. That is a weight no woman wants. And the moment you take it off her shoulders, she moves toward you freely. The sixth game is silence. Not the silence of disinterest, the silence of depth. She goes quiet, not because she has nothing to say, but because she is feeling something she does not yet have words for. Maybe she is processing. Maybe she is protecting. Maybe she is simply sitting in the feeling of you and trying to understand what it means. Most men are terrified of silence. They rush to fill it. They interpret it as failure. They assume that if she is not talking, something is wrong. But sometimes, silence is the most honest thing a person can offer. It means the moment is too real for small talk. It means she is present, fully, without performance. And if you can sit in that silence with her, without rushing to fix it, without pulling out your phone, without asking what is wrong, you are giving her something most men never do. You are giving her permission to feel without explaining. That is intimacy. Not the kind built on words, the kind built on safety. And safety is not created by what you say. It is created by what you do not say, by the moments you let exist without controlling them. The seventh game is the most beautiful and the most quiet. She begins to protect you in ways you may never see. She defends you when you are not in the room. She softens her friends' opinions about you. She keeps certain parts of your connection private, not because she is hiding you, but because what she feels for you is sacred to her. And sacred things are not shared carelessly. She starts remembering small things, not your birthday or your favorite movie. The things you said once in passing that revealed who you really are. The fear you mentioned. The dream you almost did not say out loud. She holds those pieces of you carefully because they were given in trust, and she will never tell you she is doing this. Because this is not about performance. This is about devotion expressed quietly. If you are paying attention, you will notice it. In the way she looks at you a second longer than necessary. In the way she adjusts small things to make you comfortable without being asked. In the way she is simply there. Not loudly, not desperately, just there, like gravity. And that is not a game at all. That is a woman who has chosen you. Silently. Completely. In the way women choose when it is real. Now let me speak to you directly. Not to the version of you performing strength. Not to the version scrolling for answers at 2 a.m, hoping one video will finally explain what she meant. I am speaking to the man underneath all that. The one who gave too much. The one who thought that showing up fully meant she would stay. The one who believed that effort equals attraction and silence equals failure. You were not wrong for caring. You were not weak for trying. You were not foolish for believing that honesty and consistency should be enough. In a perfect world, they would be. But attraction does not live in a perfect world. It lives in tension, in space, in the gap between desire and certainty. And you kept closing that gap because the uncertainty hurt. Because you were taught that love means proving yourself. That if she doubts you, you should try harder. That if she pulls away, you should hold tighter. No one told you that the tighter you hold, the less she can breathe. And no one told you that she was not asking you to prove anything. She was asking you to be still. That is the shift most men never make. They go from chasing to freezing, from overgiving to withholding. They think the opposite of desperation is coldness, but it is not. The opposite of desperation is peace. It is the quiet knowing that you are enough without her reflection to confirm it. It is the willingness to be alone rather than be someone you are not. It is the ability to care deeply without collapsing under the weight of that care. That is not emotional distance. That is emotional strength. And it is the most attractive thing you will ever develop. Not for her, for yourself. Because here is the truth no one in these spaces wants to say. She might come back. She might not. She might see your growth and feel something shift. She might already be gone. And neither outcome defines you. Your value was never tied to her decision. It was tied to how you carry yourself while she makes it. It was tied to who you become when no one is watching. When the phone is silent. When the night feels long and the answer does not come. What do you do in that space? That is the real question. Do you spiral? Do you obsess? Do you text something you will regret in the morning? Or do you sit with the discomfort, let it pass through you, and wake up tomorrow a little more grounded than you were today. Because that is the work. It is not glamorous. It does not make for dramatic content. But it is the thing that changes everything. The man who sits with his own silence becomes untouchable. Not because he feels nothing, but because he no longer needs to be rescued from what he feels. He can hold it, process it, let it refine him rather than ruin him. And the woman who is meant to stay will see that. She will see it in the way your voice stays steady when things are uncertain, in the way your presence does not shift with her moods, in the way you look at her without needing something back. That is the energy that makes a woman feel safe enough to be honest, to stop testing, to stop protecting, to simply be with you without armor. You cannot fake that. You cannot learn it from a script or a strategy. You can only build it by walking through every uncomfortable moment that made you want to run and choosing to stay with yourself instead. So stop trying to decode her. Stop trying to win the game. The game was never the point. The point was always you. Who you are when the noise fades. Who you are when no one is reflecting your worth back to you. Who you are in the silence. That is the man she is looking for. And he is the man you are becoming. Not by chasing her, by choosing yourself. So let me ask you one thing before you go. Are you still trying to read her mind? Or are you finally ready to trust your own?